Good morning, trading world. It is October 11th, 2022, 8:42 a.m. on the East Coast, and this is my pre-market outlook and technical analysis for day trading the markets. All right. Looking into the forecast, being sarcastic a little bit, but in this week's forecast, we have big amounts of nothing alternating, drifting lower than back until CPI on Thursday. Yesterday's excuse for such a blah market was that the bond market was closed and it was an official banking holiday. We are in a kind of difficult spot because we are deep in a hole in which price action is ready to and could blow up 10 to 15 points straight up in your face. But on the other hand, with the big news on the horizon, the market is content just drifting lower and doing nothing until the report hits on Thursday. The option chain clearly shows this in the forecast. If you look at the SPY option chain, let me bring that up for us. All right. If we look at the SPY option chain, which I have up, we're going to get over here to the right corner, and a lot of people may not pay this much attention, but this percentage right here is the implied volatility for this week's or for that date's expiry. So as you can see, that's yesterday, that's this one, ignore that one. But this one here is for Wednesday's expiration. It has an implied volatility of 34.11. Then you have Friday, which has a implied vol of 38.53. And then you go to Monday, and Monday is much lower than Friday's volatility. And let's bring that up to see just how far. As you can see, that is the anomaly right here, that 38, when it comes to implied vol as we go down the option chain on the SPY. Now, it may not stand out to you clearly on the SPY because the SPY only has primary expirations of Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But if we bring up the SPX, the SPX has an expiration every day of the week now. And because it has that expiration every day of the week, let's take a look at the 14th. And actually, we just got some changes here because when I looked at this earlier, everything was paled in comparison to the 14th of October here at 39. But as you can see, the Wednesday's expiration is at 41. And I'm going to tell you why Wednesday's expiration at 41 is higher than everything else. The actual CPI report takes place pre-market Thursday. So because it takes place pre-market Thursday, everything is going to be included in Wednesday's expiration. So you see here we have a 41 implied vol. This has definitely changed changed a bit this morning, but it definitely kind of stood out yesterday that this was what we were waiting on Thursday, because this implied vol for Thursday was head and shoulders above everything else. So this tells us clearly what the market is waiting on this week. In my opinion, this kind of sets us up for a drift sideways to lower leading up to a crescendo on Thursday. We could probably get a good spike down before a sharp rally that could take off like a rocket. Meanwhile, the major channel 364 down to 353 holds a lot of weight. And as you can see, there's some areas marked on my SPY chart here. Let me bring us back to the SPY. And clearly we have areas marked here of importance. If I can make that a little bigger here for us. This is pretty much that major channel 363. And this is another area that goes back to where there are a crowd of unsatisfied, I guess we could say buyers here. But this is a place where there is known to be support in the market. So that brings us to the key levels to watch for the day. All right, here we are back with the key levels of the day. Starting on the resistance side, we have our jack resistance at 358 to the 359 area. Then we have our queen resistance 360 to the 361 area. And then way up here we have our king resistance 364 all the way up to 367. This 364 just happens to be the major channel area, but this 360 to 361 should hold a decent amount of weight today. On the support side, we have our jack support at 356 to the 355 area. Then we have our queen support 354 to the 353 area, which is also the bottom side of our major channel. And then our king support is 352 to the 350 area. The main thesis for today is bullish, closing above the 360.02 with a projected target high of between 361 and 367. The alternate thesis is bearish, closing below the 360.02 with a projected target low of between 360 and 350. The current major channel we are in is 364 down to 353. The major channel above is 364 all the way up to 379. Both the quant and the technical side agree with the bullish bias. However, that bias is very small, both which could have us kind of sideways in the channel for the day. Let's bring up the scenarios of the day. All right, here we are with our most probable scenario of the day. It's our range day structure. We could have an initial drop down, find support, and chop back and forth but still end up mildly higher on the day. That is our range day structure, and that's evident because we chop back and forth across the open a couple of times, I see at some point today. So for range days, it's very helpful to have your range bound or oscillator type indicators, whether on the chart you're looking at your Bollinger Bands or deviation channels, whatever it is that you use, and you can really kind of pay attention to your RSI or oscillator type indicators to kind of predict those ebbs and flows as we reach a boundary at the top and then set boundaries at the bottom in reverse. Let's get to the next scenario. All right, our next scenario is going to be our rounded reversal day type structure. We could get a continued push higher toward the Jack or Queen resistance area, find midday chop around either the Queen or King resistance before spending the same energy we use going up to go back down the second part of the day. Also, on the rounded reversal day type structure, I will stress the vice versa alert on this today, and that simply looks like this. We could get that initial pop up and then pretty much head back down for most of the morning. Find our midday chop around either the Jack or Queen support area, and then finish off the day going back up with the same amount of the energy that we came down with the first part of the day. So that is the vice versa alert on the rounded reversal day type structure. And here we have the last scenario and the least likely scenario, which is our trend day down. We open, gap down, and start with a pop back towards the previous close represented by the blue line. We find resistance on or before that previous close, then begin the downtrend for the day. We find midday chop around either the possible, we should say, Jack or Queen support level, and usually on trend days we usually start the second half of the day with a head fake, looking to continue the primary trend of the morning, and then at some point we usually get a rally back into the close or some type of pop going into the close if we spent most of the day down. And what varies is the size of the pop, especially when we're at altitudes of volatility the way we are. This really varies. So those are the scenarios that we are looking for today. And again, I really expect, just like yesterday, I kind of expect some blah days. The range may be kind of tempting because it's not going to be that small of a range, but we've been here before. And the thing that you want to kind of keep in mind is that the more we spin in this range, going back and forth, the more gamma builds or open interest builds in this range, leading us to a big breakout of some kind. Who knows whether it's going to be up or down, but just the more we spend here, the more people tend to put on positions in this area, and the risk of a gamma squeeze just becomes greater and greater. And that's why we will more than likely have some type of outsized move on the CPI due to all that build up in this current range and channel that we're eventually going to break from. So as always, your most important job as a trader is to protect the capital that you already have, and we do this by knowing and understanding the risk that we put on in each position, and we manage that risk in accordance to our account size. I hope this helps. Wishing you a positive trading day. Make it a great one.